Greetings, and welcome back to Stellaris, my Commonwealth of Man playthrough. So we are going to... it looks like Taurus Compass is about to be destroyed again, because the Obadin Horde have moved up next to them again. Poor Taurus Compass. I've decided I am going to only sell slaves when I am close to unemployment in areas. Instead, I need to let my population build up. Even though I'm building up more slaves than humans, I may switch back to forced growth to make sure I get the humans I need to do these specialist jobs that are lacking right now. Mainly, the researchers, the culture workers, and the bureaucrats is what I'd like to get filled out. It's going to take about a year for my fleets to get back in position to their bases where they can repair, and about that time I will be ready to do another round of upgrades because I will have the antimatter reactor, and I do already have reinforcements en route to most of them. I had most of them churning out a couple of ships. Get my naval capacity or my fleet size back up. I still have a decent fleet size, but once I do this next round of upgrades, adding in the increased guns and the reactors and the hyperdrives, secured. It should be a nice improvement to my combat capabilities. 40% progress to the Ripper cannons and 10% to plasma thrusters. Well, there's 4 more debris. If we get plasma thrusters out of every debris, I don't think we are going to. Let's check this. Yeah, this one does not have plasma thrusters. This one does not have plasma thrusters. We're only going to get about 10 more progress to plasma thrusters. But that could be something we start working on with our next technology, is the thrusters. That would be down here. It does look like we are most likely going to get the Ripper autocannons, since we already got 40% progress to one of them, and we've got 3 more that are going to give them. Pro class is no longer growing that other population. It apparently corrected that, since it says there is currently no migration on the planet. Although we can receive migrants from that planet, there's not enough pull here to give migration. But I have a few planets that have already reached their planetary administration where we have some human workers. And since I'm getting surplus population on other planets of different slaves, I'm going to be shifting the humans off of these newer worlds to work specialist jobs on some of my existing ones. For example, I have a spare oxen litter here on Unity, and I could use another researcher. And I did manage to finally get the entertainers filled up with the farine. What I had to do was close out the clerk jobs, and then just keep alternating where I was favoriting until it eventually pulled all the farine up. It took a little finagling, and I ended up with no culture workers, but I got my bureaucrats filled out and my artisans, but not my researchers. So we are going to resettle to Hoxton, or Hawksworth. We are going to resettle this oxen litter farmer and bring over this human technician. And he became a culture worker. Good. Although I would prefer him as a researcher. Also, I have enough surplus energy credits now. I think I can run another campaign, the recycling campaign. That will cut down on my population consumer good upkeep. Right now, the consumer good upkeep for populations is 132. This will drop that by about 13 and get me a little bit more surplus. Because I never did get around to giving my humans the improved standard of living. I kind of wanted to improve them from decent conditions. There's really not much point other than boosting the political power of my rulers of switching from decent conditions to a stratified economy. But social welfare, while it would reduce the political power of my rulers, it would boost the happiness of my specialists and allow unemployed humans to produce unity, though I don't currently have any unemployed humans. Maybe boosting my rulers' political power, since my rulers tend to be happier, would be the way to go. This would have a very slight impact on my humans that are workers, which I am in the process of shifting around. So I think maybe we go for stratified economy. If they wish a better lot in life, they will have to work for it. Now it's going to lock that for 10 years. But that should boost the stability on all of my worlds, since the rulers tend to be fairly happy. If we look at happiness, they're in the 70s here, and they now have, it was 8 times, went up to 10 times. So yeah, the rulers gain a little bit more political clout, which should help some of the worlds where I have less humans on, like my newer colonies, but my humans are the rulers and tend to be happier. It should help with the stability there. Apparently, when I told them to go home, they just went to the nearest base, because their home base is none. But I actually want them to go back to Caspadine. So let's set their home base for Caspadine.
Fleet action underway.
Really? Where? Apparently I ran into some space amoebas with the Fortress Legionnaires in the Othana system. I believe the Fortress Legionnaires are primarily autocannons, so they're going to chew them up. Yeah. I don't think they lost a ship. Yeah, this stuff didn't even get through their armor. We didn't end up shooting down any of the flagella. But yeah, it's primarily autocannons. It did have a few plasma throwers that did a little bit, but it was primarily the autocannons that tore things up. And now we have another project to research when we are finished here. Oh, wait, what is this? We have some Tiyanki in our system. Who is going to Poligar? Strike Force Hippogriff. I will have Strike Force Hippogriff intercept them along the way. If they don't fight back, it's still going to be fairly easy to clean them out. But yeah, I have noticed if they do not aggro on you, you do not get the rewards or the debris from fighting them. Reshethian State declared us their arrival again. Well, I've
Battle
already
debris secured.
Moved on. 20% to plasma accelerators, 10% to kinetic batteries and ripper cannons, and just a small amount of research bonus. We have a new proposal. Minor economic sanctions have been re-proposed by the Oklaran Interplanetary Confederacy. Looks like we've dropped down 2 ranks again. We were number 6, now we're number 8 again. Strike Force Gorgon is fully repaired and apparently fully reinforced. Now, another thing we could do is we could eventually arm privateers in some of our allied territory and have our ships in the vicinity so that we can get to destroy their privateers for the salvage. That is when we get more influence gain and can spare that chunk. The main reason to do that is after we get the additional civic slot and can go back to grabbing vassals, we can get multiple vassals and have each vassal basically have a ministry of truth. Instead of getting large vassals like this one, what I would like to do in the future is break them apart. In other words, say like the Glosswerhenians. We would probably split their empire in half as 2 separate vassals because that's more holdings. And it also limits how strong a particular vassal can be as for turning against us. We do kind of like these smaller vassals. They're not that great when it comes to what they offer us, resource and all-wise. Like the Miravandians are giving us very little in the way of resources. I mean, 4 alloys, 25 consumer goods. They're starting to give us more strategic resources. Basic resources, yeah, they're barely giving us any food and giving us only about 200 energy credits. One of my planets provides plenty more than that. Let's see, I've got a technician planet here, or this one isn't even a full technician planet. It's giving me almost 200 energy off of just 6 generator districts. But that's not the point of getting the multiples. We'll get a little bit of tithe on them, which will hamper their growth, because the AI does get bonuses to their resource output. So cutting down on their resource output by taxing them even a small amount kind of pulls back on how much advantage the AI gets to its empire management. Also, it boosts our economy slightly. So having a bunch of multiple vassals giving us small amounts of tax and small amounts of science and all will help boost us up. Eventually, I would like every empire in the galaxy to be my vassal. Which does remind me, what is it going to take to get these guys to be my vassal? 62. All right, we're about 3 years away from being able to get vassals without problems. Let's see, if I wanted to boost up a few things, and of course I want them to give us research. No, you're not going to be a bulwark. What the hell am I thinking? You're going to be a protectorate. And actually, as a protectorate, I would need to give them a little bit of research to get them caught up. Otherwise, they would stay a protectorate. But honestly, I don't care if they remain a protectorate. Let's see, we'd want 3 of those at least. So all of those changes right there would be 135. So we would want 135 banked, at least 135, by the time we finish in 3 years. So by about 23-24, we need to bank up some influence for picking up some of these smaller empires, because even if they don't add a whole lot to my empire, they still are adding a place where I can put a Ministry of Truth that will boost my influence. Now, the reason I would like a lot of small vassals with Ministry of Truths to give me a large amount of influence, it would allow me to take a far more active role in the galactic community, because I would have influence to spend to either improve or propose things, or do vetoes, or call in favors. Because the next tradition tree I plan on getting after we get the final one in Subterfuge, we'll be getting the next to last one in about 2 years, and then it'll probably be about 7 to 8 before we can get the last one. We plan on going into politics to start taking over the Galactic Council or Galactic Community. And as we do that, I'm going to be wanting to acquire a whole bunch of little vassals that are kind of forced to vote with me. It also will remove political power. Every person I vassalize suffers a loss to political power in the galactic community. Like, let's look at one of our vassals around here. Let's see if we can find Citadel. Is it even... did they ever actually join? Well, the United Miravandium Imperium. Because they're subject they lose half their diplomatic weight right off the bat. So the more people we subjugate, the more we cut down their diplomatic weight. Right now, the star realm of Shar is over twice ours. Everybody else does not have twice our power. If we were to manage to subjugate the Glostwarhenians, the Multics, the Soran, the United Nations of Earth, actually we'll probably annex them, Hierarchy of Moffith, and the star realms of Shar, then we would definitely be the most powerful, because we would have no penalty to our diplomatic weight, and they would all have a penalty to theirs. Now, the one problem is that slowly lowers the opinion of all your other subjects, because when it comes to their loyalty, their opinion of you affects their loyalty increase, but their opinion is based on relative power of subjects, not just them. See, we've got a -20 with the Miravandians. If we look at Citadel, -20 with them as well. And if we also look at the Latrepians, -20 with them as well. Now, the Miravandians and the Citadel are nowhere near equal in power to the Latrepians. So that -20 means it is taking into account all of my vassals, comparing all of their power combined to mine. And right now, my vassals are more powerful than I am, mainly because of the Latrepians, but also to a lesser extent the autocracy of Rakaron. I mean, well, no, they're listed as pathetic. But the Latrepians are just inferior. They're equivalent in tech and only inferior in economics. These guys are equivalent in economic power. And these guys are pathetic. Just pathetic all around. They've never really developed much. That's the reason they're not much of a prospectorium. But yeah, it combines all of them. So you want, if you really want to maximize your influence gain, you want a bunch of really weak vassals that they could just be one colony each, that you can end up putting Ministry of Truths on. Once you get that, you know, and get a huge flow of influence, that will allow you to fuel things you need influence for, such as the galactic community, the espionage system, and habitats. So it's going to be, once we get our overlordship fully established over some of these areas, my next war I will probably end up taking the hegemony of Ubaria and the the Uthabulan allied clans, but I will probably like to do that as claims, even though right now it's a little bit expensive for me. The claims are about 150 a system. So if I wanted to claim all of these systems, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 systems, that'd be about 1,500 influence it would take to do that. So I think I may still go for a subjugation one and pick up the hegemony of Ubaria, but leave them as the two little systems they are. Or maybe I will actually get the Uthabul allied clans this time. Now, if I was able to, I could even do it where I could integrate them and just make that easier so that I could integrate all of these and redistribute them. Because this would make one good vassal. This section here would make a vassal, and this would be a vassal. That would be 3 separate vassals that would all provide me with more influence. And after that, I believe we would need to go... Well, this one is the Glostwarhenians. No, the Miravandian Coalition. That's who has this section. Maybe that's the next one we carve out. Because we could say we want to vassalize them, but then only carve off a small section here near the autocracy of Rakaron. And of course, if we suffer, if any of the empires, especially the bigger ones we control, suffer rebellions, when we put down the rebellion, we can establish them as a separate vassal. But when we get a huge income of influence, we will be able to get a lot more done.
Inbound message traffic.
As I expand to more vassals, I will be able to have more spy operations going. The Miravandians would like a migration treaty. You guys are xenophobes. You have a ocean preference, not the best. You are agrarian, resilient, and communal. We could make them the farming slaves, since the others were good at mining, or we could make these guys the indentured servants. Let's see, quarrelsome and wasteful. Let's go to one of their planets. Alright, quarrelsome, less unity from jobs, again. They make good defensive armies, so they'd also be decent enforcers. They would like a migration treaty with us. Well, I had talked earlier about how I was planning on letting humans infiltrate their area so that if I integrated them. But at this point now, I don't think I am going to integrate them, because first I'd have to switch them from being a prospectorium, even though they're a pretty crappy one. We are still getting the prospectorium benefits from this, which is the reduction in mining station build cost and speed. Not really a huge deal at this point. But we will be getting the relay network, which is a reduction in planetary building cost and an increase to planetary build speed, both of which are really good. And the fact that they will eventually get more rare resources and minerals and stuff and make this area very rich. Maybe in the long run we'll eventually take it over. I think we are going to agree to this migration treaty. Yeah, I think we are, because if nothing else, it will give more worlds that their population can migrate from, or that population can migrate from, because a lot of their worlds will have unemployment, so they will have immigration push, which will boost the population growth in our worlds. So we are going to agree to that, even though that's a slight dip in our influence again. I'm almost tempted to go the diplomacy route, just for the reduction in agreements, because that right now we're consuming about 4 points in agreements. Well, it will actually be 4.5 when this migration treaty kicks in. So we could save ourselves 2 points by going down that route, but there's not really much in that route that appeals to me. I mean, the one that gives a chance for getting favors requires us to be improving relations, which would cost us influence. Getting a federation unlocked, I'm not interested in forming a federation with anybody. I'm interested in being the Galactic Emperor, which will do away with federations anyway. Yeah, there's not really much in that tree worth picking up, so I think what we need to do is just improve our influence gain and go that route. So we need to keep rivals, at least until nothing can rival us, and pick up a lot more vassals when we can, so that we can have lots of ministries of truth all over the place. I also believe I am likely going to go with the Ascension perk Detox, because we do have 5 more habitable worlds in our territory we could terraform using that. But we need Climate Restoration, which is a tier 4 tech, I believe. We are having difficulty getting all the tier 3s of society. Now let me check and see if there is a toxic world in this system that has that modifier. But that's a barren world, that's a molten world. There was only the one toxic world in here, and that's Kornagi 5. If we look at another area with a toxic world, there's bound to be one. Yes, okay, they do. So, if the Kornagi gain spaceflight, rather than rather than integrating them, I may just end up picking up another vassal. It depends on how quickly it happens. Right now, it looks like I will have time to get my additional civic before they advance to spaceflight. I don't mind losing that system. Ofang, Ofang I may mind losing. Yeah, it has a terraforming candidate in it. So, this Alpine world, the Natfankins, we will probably end up conquering them rather than giving up the system. But over here at Kornagi, all we would really be losing is a tomb world that has no real resources on it. It's a good size. But I can't even terraform or colonize those at this point.
Inbound message traffic.
The Soran combined clans would like a migration treaty. They have a desert preference. That's not going to help me out. That's not close enough to my worlds. So I'm sorry, but at this time I'm declining. Plus they are necroids. They're not necrophages, but I still don't see liking them in my territory right now. I decided to go ahead and enact network dominance. The relay network can be used to more effectively impose our will over our colonies. We do have a relay network connected to one colony right now. And so a little bit more stability here will be a little bit more resources from jobs, and it is one of my mining worlds. And it won't be too much longer before we have connected to Elythium, which has actually 3 colonies in it. And boosting the stability on all 3 of them will be great. And from there, we're going to be pushing out to these systems that will add even more colonies, and eventually running one all the way down here to our other colonies. After I finish in Caspadine, the factory is going to proceed onward to Vardavar, and then come back and get Austin, Obasha, Obatelis, all the way up to Marik, and then come back and get my other colonies back here. Basically, the easiest way to connect would be to get Grekel and then connect off of those 2. Even though this one could connect straight from Tibor, I still have to get Grekel to get there anyway.
Battle debris secured.
10% more to plasma thrusters, devastator torpedoes, and ripper cannons. Now, another great thing about this debris is that moves... Alright, we're on construction template. That moves all of those will be... during the next cycle, will be moved down to here where they are fixed, which gives us more actual choices to choose between up here. So any that I don't really think I'm going to need, I love having thrown down there. I'm really glad one of the espionages gave us progress toward robotics. Since I do not plan on pursuing robots, I will never have that pop up and use up one of my available choices. I would really like if gene clinics popped up down there. When next time I do like a spy on somebody, if I get a little bit of progress toward gene clinics, then that would remove them from the choices that keep popping up and annoying me. We have a new proposal. Relocate the galactic market. The question whether the galactic market is best served by its current leader, we should initiate a new competition to determine who should lead it. For now, I'm going to abstain from this one. Once I get more influence in influx, by getting more vassals, I would be interested in relocating the galactic market to one of my places, because I could promote the nomination a little bit better. But right now, that's a waste of a resolution when there are other stuff I would rather get done. And how is my science ship over here faring? 3 more years, and I will be at Yamal. Low cloaking. Low cloaking. I have never noticed this icon before. I guess it's because I have a ship selected. Let's see if we can find a nebula. very low in the Sirius system. Oh, that's cloaking detection that they have. So they have low cloaking detection. We can now see that, I think, because of our espionage level. We have medium on government diplomacy and everything. Let's see. Number of relics owned is now known. Low intel on colonies and systems. I guess the low, or it said medium intel on colonies. I guess the low intel on systems is letting me know that they have cloaking detection. Can I actually look at their stations now? No, I don't have sight here, so I can't click on them. But I was only seeing that when I had my ship selected. So low cloaking detection, it's very low out to here. So 2 from their starbase basically is where they have decent cloaking detection. And now that I know that, I can actually see there's no cloaking detection showing up over here. This system detected me, but I'm not seeing the cloaking detection, but I have no intel on them. I don't have a spy network going there. And it's not showing me anything in my allies area either. It's just United Nations of Earth that I'm getting knowledge about cloaking detection. But I do know this empire has cloaking detection. The Vetericians, because they're the first ones that popped me out of cloak. United Nations of Earth is in a migration treaty with the Uthabul and allied clans. And we now have enough alloys to go ahead and queue up. We're 18 days away for the developer being here anyway. We can go ahead and queue up the hyper relay here. And then from there, we are moving to Corinth to get the connection here. And we'll actually put it on the back side of the system.
Battle debris secured.
We got more progress toward proton launchers, devastator torpedoes, and plasma accelerators. Yes, they are fighting back. Good. Though we may lose some ships, because those 2 are very wounded. Hopefully they will flee combat before they get blown up. Yeah, a smarter choice would have been to take my really wounded ships and split them away from the fleet and have them hang further back, but oh well, we shall see how this goes. Yep, we lost 1 ship. Looks like we lost 2. Alright, so we hunted the T-Yankee. We got a chunk of energy credits and exotic gases. Good kills. We did lose a corvette and a frigate. Their energy siphons didn't do a whole lot of damage. They were weak against the armor, which we were heavy on armor. So that did help out a little bit, but we had some wounded ships, which was the problem. Maybe I should have stopped to repair first, but oh well. We don't have the alloys to reinforce it, but we will in April. And that's when we will probably do the reinforcing. Or what we could do... Yeah, that's pretty cheap. We'll go ahead and buy 2,500 alloys. Go ahead and have the reinforcements en route here. And since we are getting 300 energy credits a month now, I can go to edicts and run the last campaign, the education campaign, so that my leaders gain levels faster. Since they tend to die, I haven't gotten any extended lifespan. I do want my low levels getting leveled up a little faster. And that gives us a little bit of energy siphon. So after we finish those, we'll move in here and research that. Krakow Interstellar Nation is in a commercial pact with the Glossworhenians. Etherian are in a migration treaty with the Glossworhenians. Allied Maltics are in a migration with the Miravandian Coalition. Glossworhenian are in a commercial pact with the Autocracy of Rakaron. Fortress Legionnaires are fully repaired. You know, since we've got another chunk of alloys, we wish to review our options. We want to help you field a bigger fleet. In an ever-changing and complex galaxy, security concerns are paramount. Your donation would allow us to scale up our operations and services. That would be half my current alloys and a chunk of energy credits. But we're going to go ahead and do that. And right now, it says our fleet size is 41. Let's see what it goes up to next month. It doesn't say a particular increase. I would like the Admiral back. I cannot put an Admiral in there. So this is a situation I think really needs to be addressed. The Fortress Legionnaire reinforcements should always join up with the existing fleet. It should not start generating a separate fleet. Because if they're only going to allow mercenary companies to have one Admiral, that Admiral should be with the fleet that I am paying for. All of their ships should be with the fleet I am paying for. And now it says that they are going up to 71 ships. Yeah, they finally merged. Finally, they merged together. Alright, so I think what this is, they're using their full size. They got plus 50. Their base is 20. And they've got plus 50, 60, 70. So they should be able to get up to 90. So they have 18 more ships or 19 more ships they can add here. And I think what that 41 in parentheses is how much it cost me. Because they have reduced fleet. They use less on the command limit because of resolutions that have passed. All of my reinforcements should be back by the end of this year. So it'll be in January of next year that I will redesign ships and begin the upgrades.
Science Division report success.
We have antimatter power. By harnessing the energy produced by matter-antimatter annihilations, our efficiency at generating ship power will be orders of magnitude better than fusion. So we could upgrade our point defense. It would take 2 years. Disruptors would take a year and 4 months. Wormhole travel is now an option, though we have no wormholes to worry about. Be a year and a half to get the plasma accelerator. 2 years to get the X-ray laser. Let's see, a year and a half to get that. We do still have some debris left. Let's see. Large plasma accelerator, medium plasma accelerator. So we'll probably get about 20%, I think, with that one. 20% of this would knock 5 months off of it. So we might be able to get this one. It'd be a little bit after January we could get the upgraded plasma accelerator. And we got construction templates. Standardized prefab templates massively reduce on-site facility construction times. Huge boost to planetary build speed. Reduction to empire size from districts. That's going to drop us 8 points. And resource silo capacity has increased. We are way up there in our capacities now. The resource silos I have on my star bases do not cost any maintenance, so there's no need to replace them until I get something worth replacing them. Now, a lot of this stuff is shuffled down here. See, railguns would take 2.5 years. We got progress on advanced railgun because of the kinetic battery. You have to have advanced railguns before you have access to kinetic battery. Ripper autocannons we could get in a year. Plasma thrusters would still be 2 years. And other than that, we have habitats and Star Fortresses still popping up. Star Fortress is kind of a prerequisite to get to Titans, I believe. And I do eventually want the Colossus project. But right now, that's still a 2.5 year project with a... Oh, she's a really good specialist to put in it, though. But I think I want to knock out something that is going to be an upgrade. I think the Ripper autocannons. See, it'd be 13 months with her. If I stuck in my propulsion expert, it's still 13 months. So we'll just leave her in there so that hopefully she can get more in her field. And that was the other guy in the reconnaissance ship that doesn't really need a pilot. So I can just leave that person free. So yeah, in about another year, because we should knock 5 months off of that, in about another year, we should be able to do the ship upgrades, because we will have upgraded accelerators, upgraded autocannons. We've already upgraded hyperdrives, as well as the kinetic battery. I mean the railguns and the power. So we'll have a nice slew of upgrades to do in about a year. Nation of Selnock was given association status. We got the last debris down here. 20% to plasma accelerators, 10% kinetic battery, and 10 more to Ripper cannons. Yeah, that actually knocked 6 months off of that, 3 off the Ripper autocannons, and of course the kinetic battery one would given us a huge chunk towards the advanced railgun. It knocked a lot more off of it than it would have off of kinetic batteries, because if you don't have the prerequisite yet, I think you get a greater impact to the prerequisite than you would get to it, so that you can get there faster. So yeah, advanced railguns will now only take about 2 years. But yeah, the Ripper autocannon in 9 months, plasma accelerator in a year from now. So it would be next April when we could do these ship upgrades. United Nations of Earth is in a migration with the Citizens Alliance of Orcam Fung. Strike Force Hippogriff is now fully repaired, and they're just missing 7 frigates, which are probably some of these ships that are going to be in transit for a bit. Democratic Glirin Union is given association status. The Allied Independent Systems is my nemesis. They are the thorn in my side since the start of the game. Uthable and allied clans are ending their rivalry with us. They're still at war. They're almost completely exhausted from this Tendrazun servitude campaign. Well, there's Miravandian Enterprises. Yeah, they do still exist. Okay, the Miravandian Coalition is also a vassal of theirs. Okay, the Miravandian Enterprises were a tiny one. That's what it was. Tendrazun still do control some of their own systems. But not that many. I only see 2. There's a couple of systems they have I can't see. Oh, they do control up here. So it is going to be possible, and they are making progress against the coalition over here. So it is going to be possible they do not end up getting subjugated by the Glossworhenians. The Glosperhenians are the ones that I really need to strive to destroy. They've got too many vassals. But I believe that makes them too strong for me to do a war of subjugation on. Yeah, they're superior to me. All I can do is humiliation. I could put some claims over there, but yeah, they are too strong for us to rip apart. But if we had a huge influx of influence, I could just claim all of their territory with colonies and do an actual war to of conquest. Because if I flip those others become isolated. I mean, if they don't have a colony, they don't exist. Praku Interstellar Nation is a migration treaty with the Glosperhenians. Now, another thing I could do, but it would cost me even more influence because Miravandian Enterprises opened their borders to us. You're a mega corporation. I will open my borders to you. Because if that gets you interested in a commercial pact, so be it. But what I was saying, one other way I could start chiseling away at Glosperhenian's vassals would be to start working on relations with the vassals. They don't like me because I'm butchering Tianki. There's where the abuses of trust comes from. They were, I discovered they were doing an espionage operation. But if we can get their relations up to the point where they would propose secret fealty to us, though I'm not even seeing the option. Oh, these guys are just in the, that's right, these guys aren't vassals. But, so these two we'll have to deal with separately. But when we get over here to dealing with their vassals, like the Miravandian Enterprises, we could start chiseling away at their fealty to get them to join us and then declare a war of secret fealty to get people to switch sides. So we could start chiseling away at vassals when we get to that point. Though I think after we get these two, the hegemony of Ubaria and the Uthabulan allied clans, we will not be directly bordering the Tendrazun anywhere unless they manage to conquer some of, I mean, not the Tendrazun, the Glosperhenians, unless they manage to conquer some systems over here. So I believe we're going to have to move through the Miravandians and the Tendrazun to get there. Now the Miravandians are a vassal of theirs. Very low acceptance for secret fealty. We have very bad relations and they are harming relations. They were separatist. Civilization came into being when it rebelled and seceded from another empire. That gives them a bonus to stability and ship build speed and governing ethics attraction. Interesting. Now it'd be nice if you could, I want to say, I can't remember if it was a mod or something, but there was an option when there was a rebellion that happened in your empire of you taking over the rebel empire instead of your existing empire. And I can't remember if that's base game or if that was a mod, because I have not suffered a rebellion in a long time. But I did see in the patch notes where you have, in the machine uprising, you have the option of switching to be the machine empire that is doing the uprising instead of your own empire. So it's quite possible it's base game. Kesem Confederacy was given association status. Miravandian Coalition is in a migration treaty with the Veteresian League. The Alien Protection Network was embraced by the Interstellar Picarian Coalition. They are now xenophilic. Another prosperous unification. And actually, I should probably now have enough intel on everybody to see their origins by base. The Adnoram Imperium was separatist. I should have known that one. So is the Adnorian League. Adnorian Reapers, prosperous unification. That's going to be the most common origin. The Econo-organism is an ocean paradise. Allied Multics were prosperous unification. Autocracy of Rakaron was liberated. That was because of our war. We ended up liberating them. Briannan Stellar Nation is a prosperous unification. Citadel Research Institute is a prosperous unification. Despite the fact that we were a lost colony, they got the prosperous unification origin when we created them. Citizens Alliance of Orcam Fung were separatist. Citizens Confederation of Gavazul were Teachers of the Shroud, which explains why they are following the Psionic Ascension. How large are they? 27 colonies. Democratic Gliran Union were separatist, and the Glir are an Arctic preference lithoid. I've seen a few migrating to some of my colonies. Lithoids have very good habitability. They get a plus 50% bonus, so they end up having fairly good habitability. Entherian Galactic League was a prosperous unification. Felnal Cooperative were post-apocalyptic. Glosswerhenians were life-seeded, so they have that Gaia world preference. Great Huron Hierarchy were prosperous unification. I believe most of the ones that end up being pre-FTL end up as a prosperous unification. Gudgan Commonwealth are void dwellers, so they live in habitats. Interesting. Habinti Unified Worlds were also life-seeded. Now the Habinti Unified Worlds, I think that is a scripted event one. And that's the one that had to do with this system that has no... Yeah, the Habinti Unified Worlds are part of this one system nobody can currently reach. I believe that was an event that created them. The Hegemony of Ubaria, okay, I should have remembered, it is common ground, as is the their fellow one. Hierarchy of Moffith, prosperous unification. Interstellar Picarian Coalition, prosperous unification. Genlot Conclave, prosperous unification. Kessam Confederacy, are mechanist. Mandate of Massum 3, they were enlightened, and I believe they were enlightened by my sub-vassal, the Autocracy of Rakaron. The Enlightenment Project was probably begun by the Hegemony of Ubaria. Miravandian Coalition were separatist. Miravandian Enterprises were also separatist. The next Nexus was separatist. They were kind of a mini machine uprising. The nation of Selnok Prime was a prosperous unification, so they were not enlightened, they came up on their own. The Oclaran Interplanetary Confederacy, a prosperous unification. The Praku Interstellar Nation were separatists. The Recudium Imperium are necrophage, so undead parrot astronauts. The Reshethian State was a syncretic evolution. The Chopin Hegemony, I actually don't have knowledge of their origin yet. I will when I get to 40. So they haven't been around long enough for me to see them. The Soren combined clans were a prosperous unification. The Sovereign Jazajan Assembly was a syncretic evolution. Sovereignty of Tuxcali were remnants. Star Realms of Shar were mechanist. Tendra Zun are a prosperous unification. United Kresk were separatist. United Latrepian Domains were the other common ground. United Miravandian Imperium were prosperous unification. They were a pre-FTL civilization. United Nations of Earth, I know they are prosperous unification. Uthabul and allied clans were the other common ground. Veteresian League were life-seeded. So we've had 3 life-seeded species. The Verzak Galactic Technocracy were a prosperous unification, and the Yarrow Reacherin Divine Order were a prosperous unification. And I think they actually were a pre-FTL, weren't they? They just managed to grab 3 systems, it looks like. There's a territorial invasion going on here. The Sharans, the Kresk are invading the Yarrow Reacherins, and the Sharan are seeking to enslave them. Who's at war? Is the Ednorn Reapers at war with anybody right now? No. Rishethian State is in a research agreement with the hegemony of Ubaria. The Human Ascension Movement. We have allowed migration treaties. Signing any migration treaties displeased them. But they still have 94% approval, so it's still the maximum happiness bonus. It did affect their Unity output a little bit, but I'm okay with that. But yeah, even signing the immigration treaty with my human-made colony would have done that. Governor Ann Kong died at the age of 63. That was pretty young, wasn't it? Oh, she had chemical abuser, I believe. Because 80 is our normal age at which we start risking death. It looks like I have another governor who will be dying soon. So we can get another retired fleet officer to replace her. Oh, no. Where did we put the... She wasn't the retired fleet officer. She was the architect. But we do have a retired fleet officer again. I think I will swap Leffingwell and her. Yinling. Put Yinling in Leffingwell. And put Victor Volkov in Earth 2 sector for the slave pop resource output, because I believe I have more areas in here. Let's see, we have Thebes, Earth 2 of course. No, I've only got 2 colonies here, and I only really had 3 here. Leffingwell, Proclos, and Bastion. And none of them, apart from Leffingwell, really had much in the way of resource gathering. But over here we will have energy credits and mining. So this is a better place for the slave pop output, I believe. Though the best place is over here. This is also the best place for my unifier. Although when Earth 2 gets up and running... Where's Camelot? No, this is still the best place because Camelot is a unification center for me.
Battle debris secured.
Little progress toward the amoeba breeding program. Now it will take us 7 months to get over here, another 3 to do that, so about 10 or 11 months, and we'll get a little bit of progress toward energy siphon. Here's another issue that happens sometimes. This did not grow a pop, but the population has been reset because it switched from being one of the Glirin to being a Savelli. I've had the same thing happen here, a Miravandian in place of the Glirin that was being bred here. But sometimes this will happen, is that if you are migrating a species from a particular planet in, say, the Miravandian Empire, and they sell that slave, well, that is no longer available as a source of population to migrate, and it alters your migration. So I lost all of the progress I had toward that Glirin, which was at least 4 or 5 months worth of progress. So that would have been about 16 points, because the Glirin no longer became available. Yeah, it's no longer listed on the list for species that can migrate here. So that's one problem, is that if it chooses to try and migrate a species and then that species disappears from over here because it was either moved off the world that you were getting the migration from, or sold as a slave, or purged, or whatever, then it glitches out your progress. Now, I think it should take the progress toward a next pop and save it, even if the population that is switching does change. We've now learned of a new strategic resource encountered on Temporal Decay in the territories of the United Latrepian domains. Dark matter. So I guess I didn't have dark matter in Corinth if I'm just now learning of dark matter. But what was it that gave me access to the dark matter drawing? United Nations of Earth broke their research agreement with the Praku. Yeah, here they are again, building more fleets. And they took my damn person away. But hopefully when these two fleets finally merge, those are the last two, that should give me up to 90. When they finally merge over here, I will get my admiral back. United Uthabulan clans are in a migration treaty with the allied Multics. There's enough abstaining to completely shut this one down. Star Realms of Shar are guaranteeing the independence of the Oklaran Interplanetary Confederacy. United Nations of Earth is in a migration treaty with the hegemony of Ubaria. Strike Force Dragon has finally been fully repaired, and we have 2 reinforcements left to show back up. Uthabulan allied clans have ended their rivalry with the Adnorn Reapers. Okay, they finally re-merged back in. We now have a full-strength Fortress Legionnaire fleet. Let's go ahead and start moving it over here to Safe Station. And since it takes so long to head over this way, I think I am going to move this one to Deneb to do its refitting. Then at least it will be on the start of this network. Now, enemy of my enemy was a military one. That did do a 30% increase to naval capacity that is not showing up here yet. So I should be no longer under my naval capacity. And the next resolution in 2 years currently is going to be administrative sanctions. We are now 5th in rankings. We've got enough to, as long as we are not supporting Forum Galactic Council, it seems like we are able to get stuff promoted above it again. I haven't checked up on the Oberon Horde. Looks like they're being pushed back. So there's some serious fighting going on here with the Star Realm of Shar. Their fleet is still huge, 5,000 compared to my 3,000. Actually, mine's getting a lot closer to theirs. They were about double mine before. And I'm willing to bet these guys who have 5,000, Shar and Hierarchy of Moffith, probably have battleships by now. So we're about 4 months away from doing another redesign of our ships, refitting, and going to take out more of the half-liferings.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Ripper cannons. These upgraded rotary autocannons feature improved tracking and fire control systems. This allows them to maintain an even higher rate of fire. Exotic gas refineries. That's one of the refineries we are missing. It would take 2 years for thrusters, over 2 years for torpedoes, and 2 years for railguns. Those three can wait. Armor, I think, would take 3.5. The exotic gas refineries would take about a year. Do I still have a material specialist? Yes, that might knock a little bit of time off of it. But I think I want to leave her in here, because she has 10%. It'd only be 5% more and might knock 1 or 2 months off of it, but I want to try and get more Voidcraft options, even though I've been kind of ignoring some of them. Let's see, if I were to improve my defense platform hulls, that would take about the same time. And it is a rare tech. It is also, I believe, a dead-end tech, and I believe that is also, that's only a tier 2, I think. That is a dead-end tech that would stop showing up, but like I said, that's one that's kind of meh. I kind of hope I steal technology and get a little progress toward it so it stops showing up. But we do need the refineries. We are getting, well, I do have a lot of exotic gases that aren't being worked right now from the other refineries I got. Maybe this isn't as critical. And we do knock out the defense platform hull points. Now if we look at our defense platforms, let's see. 10% more hull for them would be 300 more hit points. Now that isn't going to stand up to a big battleship weapon, and probably not too much to torpedoes, but that means that frigates and even destroyers, and possibly even cruisers without torpedoes, the large weapons will do quite a chunk. Let's check out one of our cruisers. Yeah, once you get up to kinetic artillery, the actual artillery stuff might make a huge difference. But I think 10% to that is actually fairly decent. I mean, 300 points, that will slow down quite a bit of people blowing us up. Unlike with the corvettes. United Utherbulan clans are in a migration treaty with the Miravandian Enterprises.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Plasma accelerators. These new accelerators launch projectiles of high-energy plasma with improved containment fields. This results in less energy leakage as the projectile travels in space towards its target. Advanced cloaking field would take 3.5 years. Boosting our encryption would take about 1.5 years. And we do, I believe, still have a computing specialist. And I would be mistaken. But we do have a maniacal. Knocked a month off of it. So in about 1 year, we'll get 3 more techs knocked out. And now it is time for another round of ship upgrades. I'm going to quickly go through here and upgrade some components. There, I finished all the redesigns. It was basically just weapon upgrades for the most part. I don't believe I had any ships that had reactor boosters that I had to remove. I need to do a quick double check on that because I wasn't even paying attention to the auxiliary slots on my cruisers. I think I had shifted away from reactor boosters to removing shields, and I ended up replacing all the shields anyway. So yeah, we should all be good now. all upgraded to these new weapon designs. And we're kind of low on energy credits, and we're going to need a lot of alloys. It's going to cost about 1,000 alloys per fleet, I think. Or, well, 500 for that one, 600 for that one. We're going to need about at least 2,000 alloys. But I'd actually like to get about 5,000 so that I have some banked for building these hyper relays. We're working on the one in Corinth. We're just about halfway done with this one, and then we'll be moving on to Poligar. And I don't want to spend energy credits because right now it seems like we're losing energy credits. That's probably because Overlord subsidies increased. And I have brought a couple more districts and such online. But I don't want to spend energy credits for it. Instead, I would rather see if I could trade for it. Let's see if the Soran are willing to spare some alloys. Be 84 trade acceptance, but I can trade other things to them. Are they interested in food at all? Yes. Food isn't doing a huge difference, but I can trade them a couple... well, actually, I'm bleeding food right now, too. Never mind. Moats, I have a huge surplus of. Would you like some moats? Oh, 1,000 moats would be really nice. You don't need that many, then. Let's give you about 525. That 2 points really isn't that big of a deal. I just like nice even round numbers. How many moats do I actually have? 126. Let's see, if we drop that down, 516, that'll work. And that should give us sufficient alloys to begin the upgrades. I can go ahead and queue up some upgrades, but I would rather, and at least get them started, but I would rather wait until I have, well, I have at least 6 months before I'm going to need 500 for those. So yeah, let's go ahead and see how many of the upgrades we can queue up. Actually, we should be able to queue them all up. They just won't necessarily show up. We'll just go ahead and tell them all to upgrade, even though they won't necessarily have the resources. And when you get here, you are going to upgrade there. And then after you're done upgrading, you'll move on over this way. And when I get that trade through, I can also begin the upgrades of all of my defense platforms. Which reminds me, did I ever finish Poligar? Yes, all of its defense platforms are up. They gave us the alloys, but for some reason it's now... Oh yeah, they already used some of them on the upgrades. Alright, so it only cost about 100 to upgrade all of my platforms at each of these. Adding in the upgraded reactor is all that is really changing on most of these. A few of them will be getting better guns, I believe. Because I cannot recall if I did the... I think I already did the upgrade for the kinetic batteries. And none of them use plasma throwers. So yes, this is all just upgrading their weapons. I mean their powers. And we can see all of the upgrades queuing along here. There's a lot queued up. 54 upgrades at pretty much most of these stations. I established sleeper cells in the Latrepian Society. I was kind of hoping to be able to sacrifice the contact, but another 15 years, great. We have 100 infiltration level here. So for now, I'm going to move, I've got 15 years, I'm going to move out of Latrepian domains and beef up some intel on other areas. I still would like to get rid of that guy. So we're going to move him back over here. They still have sleeper cells for another 4 years, but we can build up some more infiltration level, because otherwise I don't want to be spending my influence until I can go back to renegotiating some deals. Well, other than I am currently spending influence about 50 points a year on these hyper relays. Glossworhenian opened their borders to us. Interesting. We're rivals. And you opened your borders to us. Now, we can't open our borders because we're rivals. Kesem Confederacy is in a migration treaty with the hegemony of Ubaria. The CNN Asperi and the Yakuri system has been decloaked, but it didn't get booted back out. It's because we have open borders. So we can proceed onward through here. And I'm no longer seeing the wormhole and such. I guess I have to get closer for them to pop up. I wonder why they disappeared. But I'd like to get... Actually, let's go all the way to Alpha Centauri, so we can see who the hell this unidentified empire is. Several of our abduction teams stationed on the observation post above Ofang 4 have apparently been using their thrusters to burn large circles. Okay, so they made them more spiritualist. That's the second time I think they've been doing the crop circles around there. They must be really bored. They still have high awareness. Brienne and Stellar Nation now has association status with the Federation. Etherian Galactic League has embraced the no entanglements movement and become more xenophobic. Hegemony of Ubaria opened their borders to us. The Glossworhenians decided to declare us a rival, so their borders are closed to us again.
Ships refitted.
Etherian broke their migration treaty with the Glossworhenians. All of my defense platforms. Oh, you can see them all glow. The fleets are glowing while they're upgrading. But yeah, all of my starbase fleets are now fully upgraded. So what does that do to the power of these starbases? 15k. I think all of them will be about the same. Well, 14.1 for this one. Because instead of the defensive type ones that the others have, it has a fleet academy and hangar bays. Sovereignty of Tuxcala broke their migration treaty with the Etherians. Citizen Confederation of Gavazul now has association status with the Federation.
Battle debris secured.
Got a little bit of progress toward frequency tuning. And now this ship is idle. We'll go ahead and move it to safe station. In spite of our vaunted military genius, Slurvis, the great Khan of the Obedin Horde, has met with defeat in the Pobmos system. When the armada she was commanding was lost in battle against forces belonging to the star realm of Shar, the great Khan and her closest officers fled into hyperspace in a small shuttlecraft. Even now, Slurvis is busy assembling a new armada to resume her conquest. But this victory has brought some much-needed respite to those who oppose the relentless advances of the Obsidian Horde. Well, that was disappointing. I was kind of hoping the Great Khan would have pushed forward a little better. They're down to 2 systems. The fighting was in the Padma system. Etherian Galactic League broke their migration treaty with the United Nations of Earth. If you notice, I am exactly at my naval capacity size, but it says I'm slightly over, because naval capacity tends to be fractional, I think. And that's what it is I probably have 434 and some change points. That's what's causing it. I also have, here on Bastion, I have closed to soldier jobs. I could actually help my economy a little bit more by just disabling that stronghold instead. That would get rid of the 2 jobs so that I'm not using in excess and I don't have to pay the maintenance on this stronghold. That's only 1 energy credit, but still. I mean, since I'm not even using the open jobs to draw population, might as well disable the building. Soren Combined Clans has been given associations. Is everybody but me associated with this freaking alliance? Oh my god. Alright, go by name. I don't see the little association icon on this. I would probably need to right here should show me the Moffith, Multics, Tuxcali, Soren Combined Clans, Sovereign Jazzajan, Etherian Galactic League, Federician League, United Nations of Earth, Kesem Confederacy, Nation of Selnok Prime, Verzak Galactic Technocracy, Briannan Stellar Nation, and the United Latrepian Domains. My own freaking bulwark. Soren Combined Clans ended their association. Alright, we are going to pick up non-disclosure agreement. Our citizens follow a strict mouth-shut policy when it comes to guarding our secrets from outsiders. Slight boost to our defense against hostile operations, and an increase in the infiltration required for hostile operations. And it will be just under 7 years before we get the last one at this rate. But I do have more bureaucrat jobs available for people to work and culture worker jobs, so my Unity output may increase. Our double agents in the hegemony of Ubaria have delivered us useful intel following the failure of one of their espionage operations. So my intel level with them would be boosted above my current infiltration level significantly. And the Recruitum Imperium, they also failed on an espionage operation. Now, let me check them real quick. Their code breaking is very weak compared to us. Let's check some of the more advanced ones, like the United Nations of Earth. Routine. So we've gotten it up to where our code breaking is equivalent to their... our encryption is equivalent to their code breaking. And we're about to get more encryption in about a year.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Hippogriff finally refitted. We will go ahead and send them to Warridan. Just have everybody meet up there, I think. We can also have the Fortress Legionnaires go ahead and move in. United Nations of Earth is in a migration treaty with the Miravandian Coalition. Minor administrative sanctions is still the top one. I could pull that for collective waste management, but again, that's going to boost everybody else's diplomatic weight more than mine. Like their economy is 1877, where mine is only 655. Let's see, economy, we have a plus 20, plus 40, minus 40. Yeah, so right now there are no bonuses due to economy. Do we have people still in breach? No. Nobody is still currently in breach. So the sanctions aren't going to make a huge deal. We are getting closer to overtaking the Sorin combined clans. Of course, their fleet power is down to 1,000. They lost a lot of fleet power fighting over there. As it builds back up, they will climb again. Natural wormhole. We have detected what appears to be a naturally occurring subspace phenomenon on the edge of the Crowcombe system. A rift into the very fabric of space-time has formed here, creating a wormhole that our scientists speculate may provide a conduit through subspace to another wormhole located somewhere else in the galaxy. Depending on where the second wormhole is located, this could potentially allow ships to travel from one end of the galaxy to the other in a matter of days. Unfortunately, this wormhole, like the vast majority of its kind, is inherently unstable. All vessels foolish enough to pass through it would be ripped apart in seconds. So they haven't bothered to stabilize that? Interesting. Well, we're traveling a lot faster now that we're no longer cloaked. It'll only take us a little over 9 months to get to Alpha Centauri and see who the hell this is. And I'm willing to bet it's going to end up being a fallen empire. But so far we have only met one fallen empire, and that is the Queptilium Archivist. And according to the situation log, the victory tab, there's at least one more above it, and potentially as many as 4. Because the Sorin Combined Clans is the only empire I have met that is the highest ranked empire I've met. Where else could fallen empires be nestled? There's not enough space there. There could be a fallen empire here. And there could be a fallen empire here. This was the Horde. There's not really any other empty space big enough for a fallen empire. So, if there are 3 more fallen empires, this is one, and the other 2 are down here somewhere. Uthapul and allied clans are in a migration treaty with the Kesem Confederacy. I still have not picked up any new species. Miravandium Coalition opened their borders to us. You're most likely going to be my next target.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Galactic Administration. The administrative needs of a star empire are as numerous as they are complex. We will rise to the occasion. Hostile environment adaptation we don't really need. We're at nearly 100 on everything. This would give us the Ministry of Production, which will boost our metallurgist and provide a politician job, but it boosts our metallurgist and artisan outputs. 4 years for the First League filing office, 3.5 for the collective self, 33 months, so under 3 years to get the Ministry of Production. Let's go ahead and work on that one. Nobody I am in a research agreement with has that tech. But they probably do have things like the fleet command limit. The Multics have that. I could knock it out in 2 years, but I don't need more fleet command limit yet. So yeah, let's get started on the collective self. But now, we can change our government. Now, what I want to do is switch. Right now, we are getting a reduction to empire size effect by 10%. So we're getting 40% technology cost, 81% tradition adoption cost. If we switch over to Imperial, we can pick up the feudal society. This society is organized in a feudal manner, with a monarch whose rule relies on powerful vassals that govern their territories with considerable autonomy. Your leaders do not cost unity upkeep if employed, but they cannot be dismissed. In addition, your employed governors generate unity equal to their level. Your subjects gain an additional 1 monthly loyalty and do not suffer penalties from having multiple subjects. But we can no longer have expansion prohibited, do not join subject wars, or limited diplomacy. And leaders are 50% cheaper. Civics that do not fulfill all their requirements will be inactive and will not provide any of their bonuses. Am I going to be losing any civics? No, neither of these. These two, I think, just required militarist and militarist, which I do have, and I'm going to hang on to. But yeah, let's grab feudal society. So we will become an empire. Imperial governments are similar to dictatorial ones, except that the throne is always inherited by a designated successor upon the ruler's death. And that gives us an extra influence from power projection. Right now we're getting 2. We would be able to get up to 3. We have almost twice the naval coverage we need, which is the way I like to go with an overlord. Really build up your fleet. So I will probably end up opening up those soldier jobs later and start working on a 5th fleet just to have more ships, since I am getting a lot of diplomatic weight from fleet. I mean, I'm getting 120% from my fleets. All right, it would cost 6,000 unity. We will not have that for several months, but this is what we're going to plan on doing. We have encountered another abandoned gateway, this time near Guthrie Maelstrom. It appears to have been built entirely by microscopic nanites of an unknown design. Unlike the previous structure, this gateway has been significantly altered since its initial construction. Its connection to the rest of the network has been severed. Instead, the only valid destination is an uncharted group of stars just beyond our galaxy that has been designated the L cluster by our astronomers. Although the gateway emits a faint power signature, it has been deliberately locked into some kind of maintenance loop that prevents its activation. Until we find some way of aborting this process, the L cluster will remain beyond our reach.
New sitrep.
We have learned of a mysterious star cluster somewhere just beyond the periphery of our galaxy. It can only be accessed through L gates, artificial subspace portals found in certain systems. These gateways have been deliberately disabled by someone, and for now we lack the necessary insights into the subspace mechanics that govern their use to lift the lockdown. We still have the rise of the Manifesti showing up here, but it's completed. I mean, we arrested everybody. We have made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Kothian system. We are calling them Bravo Bogies. Crystalline entities. Now, I should have somebody I can spare. Let's see, I believe I have a sleeper cell going here for 3 more years. Let us pull the one out of the United Nations of Earth to knock this one out fairly quickly. Yeah, we'll take Mr. Yamashita, because we've got an 80% chance of a breakthrough right now. Hegemony of Ubaria is in a migration treaty with the sovereignty of Tuxicali. Our production is also increasing because I am getting more Autochthon monuments built. I have added building slots to most of these places to add an additional Autochthon monument because they now have a passive of 3 unity even if they're not being worked. Star Realm of Shar was given association status. Didn't they just end their association status? No, that was Soren who did that. Tendrazun has made peace with the Glostwarhenian. So they failed to subjugate them, but the Miravandian enterprises did take quite a few systems, and the Glostwarhenians and Miravandian coalition both took some. Yeah, the Miravandian enterprises have expanded quite a bit. Which one did the Glostwarhenians take? They must have taken something away. Oh, the Tendrazun are down here as well. They must have taken that one. Impossibly perched on the event horizon of Miklor's vortex is some kind of mining apparatus. Our scientists theorize that this may be a matter decompressor, a megastructure designed to mine materials from a black hole. While it is no longer fully functional, some mechanisms preventing its spaghettification must still be operating. Yeah, it's still a ruined matter decompressor. Enigmatic observers, the Triac Forerunners. Humans, how delightful. We hadn't expected to encounter you for a few centuries yet. Personally, I thought you would wipe yourselves out long before leaving your galaxy well, but I'm glad to be proven wrong. Okay, first off, you're bordering the United Nations of Earth. So you've met humans before. Second off, we left our gravity well a long time ago. That's why we're a lost colony. So this little text blurb doesn't really fit for a lost colony. We do not take respect our authority. Respect my authority! We do not take kindly to your sort. It doesn't matter what you pick. It doesn't really affect their relations. So yeah, that was another one. Is that the top one? No. They're in third place. The Soran are actually, score-wise, equivalent to a fallen empire at this point. Pirates broke out in Barnard Star. So we have met them. Their borders are currently closed to us. I'm pretty sure the Soran have stealth detection. So trying to cloak and go into their territory won't necessarily work either. And I don't think we would be able to be cloaked in Earth and boost our reconnaissance. So let's just head over here now. Well, we'll go ahead and head to Alpha Centauri to get as much line of sight on their territory as possible. Then we will hit this sector and this sector to get view through borders. And then come back up to Yakari. Kesem Confederacy entered into a research agreement with the Hegemony of Ubaria. Living crystals? The irregularity we had designated as Bravo bogies appears to be made of some sort of crystalline material. Curiously, it seems to be able to propel itself across the void and protect itself when necessary, indicating that it may be alive. Our researchers are working hard to find out more. And we've got an 80% chance of another breakthrough in about 3 months. And that'll be a small influence boost. Let's see, it was 150 I think I needed for the Latrepians. See, if I drop to defensive, increase holdings to 4, and have them start giving me a little research. Okay, no, it's about 300 for that. 150 if I don't change my holding limit. It's 150 just to start bleeding some research off of them. But to do the changes I want, will be about 300.
En evaluerar them.
Now for Citadel, actually, easier way is to go to our agreement page. All right, the United Miravandium Imperium. There isn't really anything I can do here. So they're pretty much set as soon as they lose the 3 points because of divided patronage. I will be able to adjust a few things. I will be able to close out an Overlord garrison for a different holding. That will drop it by 2. So they'll be at 1.9. And I believe I'd probably leave it there rather than asking for more resources. They don't really give us a whole lot anyway. And there's no really point to draining them further since it's not really going to be benefiting. The Autocracy of Rakaron, I can actually get rid of one of these garrisons now and get an extra building somewhere else. We are already bleeding some research and resources from them. If I wanted to do a terms negotiation, the only thing I could really see doing would be getting more resources from them. That would only take 90. Let's see, 600, 400, 200. It'd be about a 50% increase in all of the stuff. Well, yeah, it goes from 30% to 45. Of course it's 50%. And that's the most we could ask for. Doubling this and getting even more consumer goods and stuff from them. That's really going to be a drain on their relations. Well, that would drop it by 2. And so that means we could leave that other Overlord garrison. But a better one, go back to the way it was, asking for more research, that would cost 400. Yeah, we could maximize how much research they're giving us and still be within 2 points. So we could keep that other holding as a garrison and be able to bleed the research, but we would need 400 for that. And Citadel Research Institute, I would like another holding. And they're currently at 2. So we're going to lose that for free, basically. So I don't need to add this into the negotiation. I don't think right now it's 50. If I gave them just restricted, it would cost 100. That is going to be taken away anyway. Bumping up how much research they're giving us isn't going to be that necessary. These guys don't give us a lot of anything. Just adding the extra holding would be 150. What about if I took out restricted voting? 100. So it would save me some influence to negotiate it that way. Go ahead and limit their restricted voting. They'll end up joining the galactic community. I'll get the extra holding, and they'll only go down about a point. The extra holding will end up giving me more research. Yeah, let's go ahead and proceed with this negotiation so we can get working on that new holding. Although I'm not sure I've got the minerals for it right now. Relay links forged. The galaxy presents one less hurdle to us today as our cooperative efforts with the Citadel Research Institute has reached a fruitful conclusion. The last link in our adjoining hyper relay networks has been brought online, inviting both partners into rapid transit across our shared border. While what awaits us now is a journey into the unknown, for every aspect of this arrangement, positive or negative, applies equally to us and the Citadel Research Institute. We shall see how well our neighbors hold to this symbol of mutual trust. So now we should be getting the benefits of 10% more researcher output. I don't know if it's already been calculated in. 558, 494. We'll have
Science
to see how that
Division
changes.
reports a new breakthrough.
And we have improved structural integrity. A reinforced framework that blast shields with enhanced impact absorption will ensure the structural integrity of the platform even under immense pressure. We get improved strike craft. Multics already have that. I am not currently using strike craft. I went entirely with the drones. More minerals in about 2 years. Mining station output would only take about 10 months and give us another reroll. I'm still not ready to start working on habitats. The Star Fortress would suck down a lot of alloys as well. Let's get mineral isolation. No. Let's get mining station output, mainly for the reroll. A small amount of mineral output will help us out a little bit with both energy credits and minerals. And the mining station output will also affect our strategic resources, but the minor artifacts are gathered by research stations. They agreed to the deal, so we can add an extra holding. Glossworhenian subjugated the mandate of Masm 3. Yep, I figured it would be too late for me to get them. They made them a bulwark? What the hell? And so they ended up joining the Allied Independent Systems. So let's go ahead and get started on the additional holding. Actually, the easiest way to find it is to go to my actual holdings tab to Citadel. Alright, Emporiums give me energy credits. Ministry of Energy also gives me energy credits. The satellite campus is what I want to build here. It gives me a little bit of research. Subjects turn consumer goods into research for both of us. I will get the lion's share of it. They'll get a small amount more. So we'll add a satellite campus for a little bit more research, and giving them a little bit more research will also boost how much they pay me in taxes. Great Khan Nouveau. This is Great Khan Slurvis of the Obedin Horde. My defeat at the hands of the Star Realms of Shar was a minor setback, nothing more. The Mishars are brave warriors and worthy opponents, but they too will fall before us. The tide of history is sweeping across the galaxy and nothing can stop it. My new armada has been assembled. Swear fealty to me now, while you still have time. Considering that they trounced you last time and you're down to a few systems, I think you're going to end up losing again against the Star Realm of Shar. It would appear that my support of the Imperialist faction and the Totalitarian faction, along with the bonuses I'm giving the Supremacist faction through Apex of History and the Fear campaign, have enabled me to finally get rid of the religious faction. And I've also gotten human ascendancy movement back up to 100%, despite the no immigration treaties that they didn't like, because of the other bonuses I have finally got it up to a full 100%. Now, at the start of this game, I said it is very difficult to hang on to xenophobia. That is due to my default playstyle. I like to get a lot of agreements and make use of research agreements and stuff like that. Otherwise, I kind of stagnate. As you see here, I'm not like the top empire anymore. And also, I'm not making full use of some of the abilities of the people I enslave. For example, they're not able to work a lot of culture worker jobs, or specialist jobs. And also, I'm not able to get leaders of them. And some of these would actually make decent leaders. I haven't recruited leaders from any of the enclaves. I haven't done a lot of dealings with the enclaves. As a matter of fact, I'm not even buying stuff from the Riggins. And I haven't gotten into a federation, which is also a benefit. Nor have I been I was slower in colonizing worlds because I was trying to keep my humans as the highest population. They are no longer the highest population. As my slaves slowly begin to outnumber my humans, there's a good chance egalitarianism and xenophile will pop up. So I have to kind of control my slave populations. You do not want them growing a lot faster than your main population if you plan on hanging on to xenophobia. In about 3 months, we should be able to add the civic we are missing. Rishethian State opened their borders to us. So we'll be able to explore through their territory after we finish over here. So instead of going to Yakari, let's see, we are headed to... Let's just redirect these a little bit. Let's head there, so we don't have to go entirely to the center of the system. Then we will head there. And then we will head there. I traded 302 volatile motes for 10,000 minerals because I wasn't able to do as much construction as I would like because of the dearth of minerals. Upgrading to system capital complexes was extremely expensive. I wasn't able to start the upgrades on all of these because it cost 2,000 per system capital complex. I can upgrade Doran to a system capital. And I believe those are the only 3 that are currently available. They have to have a population of 50. Leffingwell, I have been selling a lot of slaves because I was getting a lot of oxen litters, which I didn't really want. Now I've been letting them fill out the clerk jobs, at least for now. And I can get the population up to 50, so I can upgrade this to a planet system capital. And there are 2 other Autochthon monuments I still need to build to have Autochthon monuments on every one of my planets. But I didn't have the resources to do that. And I also do need to expand my farming a little bit more. Hegemony of Ubaria is in a migration treaty with the Mandate of Massam. Crystalline entities. Our researchers have finished investigating the reports of extraordinary, free-floating, crystal-like objects observed in the Kothian system. Their findings are startling. The ship-size objects and their slightly smaller but equally crystal-like satellites at first appeared inert, but sudden shifts in their orientation relative to our ships and new energy signatures emerging from within the prisms indicate that they should be regarded as hazardous and approached with extreme caution. We should deploy a fleet to gauge the crystal's offensive strength, should they possess any, and destroy them if they are a threat. So this would give us influence as well as, would give us damage to crystalline. We're going to get influence for either one of these. This would give us minerals for every fleet we destroy. This one gives us the special project. Now the special project would allow us to get the crystalline hull plating through without having to kill them. We're going to be killing them anyway. I'm just going to go with easy prey.
Permanent communications have been established with an alien empire.
And now we can return that envoy back to the United Nations of Earth, working on the spy network.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Gorgon is ready to follow the Fortress Legionnaires. I have 2 fleets left to upgrade. Strike Force Dragon which is 76% done, and Strike Force Medusa, which is just about done. It's got, looks like 3 cruisers left to upgrade, and it will be done. Now, before we do anything else, I want to reform my government to become imperial with feudal society. It's still listed as the Commonwealth of Man. We currently have no heir. Our power projection hasn't been adjusted. It probably won't be for another month, but that would be an extra point we are getting every month, allowing our influence to climb a little faster. Crown Princess Carla Nagigi is the new heir of our empire, has frontier spirit and explorer. Neither of those are very beneficial.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Medusa can now follow. Fortress Legionnaires. How close are my cloaking ships? Strike Force Hippogriff is still 3 months out.
Science Division reports success.
Simultaneous collapse storage. Further advances in unstable entanglement have given us new ways to prevent unauthorized intrusions into our databases. The shield capacitor would be a decent alternative to the auxiliary fire control on some of our ships. We're still 3 years away from the collective self. We could do another round of weapon upgrades in a couple of years, because we could get like X-ray lasers, and in 5 months after we complete mining station output, there would possibly be one we could complete in about 2 years. It'd take about 2 years to get barrier point defense. I believe we do have a particle specialist. Yeah, about 2 years to get the X-ray lasers. We don't have a whole lot of X-ray lasers, but still, will be an improvement for the ships that do have it. Because we are more than likely going to get another cluster of debris here that will give us improvements in other fields. Nation of Selloc as a migration treaty with the Lost Warhenians. I'll go ahead and move the Wayfarer up here. Oh, my constructor ships are idle. I didn't realize that. They should have been building more hyper relays. Build that one. And then let's head over to Save System and place one here. And we will build this one in Poligar. And then head into Bithia to get started on connecting ourselves to the United Miravandians. Got more dividends, more research. Senate is now in session for the collective waste management. So I didn't need to do anything to get that to the top. The sanctions just kind of dropped a little bit. We have moved up. We're kind of tied for third, but we have moved up to 4th place. As soon as I can overtake the Soren combined clans. Let's see, what does it say our actual... Their diplomatic weight is 126.87. Ours is 126.78. As soon as we can overtake them, I'm happy with the Galactic Council getting formed, because that would move me into the Galactic Council and give me even more weight, which would keep me above most of these others. Checking my loyalty bonus of my subjects, I ended up swapping out a few more. I cleared up some Overlord garrisons on other planets with the Autocracy of Rakaron and am building a satellite campus there, as well as United Miravandim Imperium. I cleared up the second Overlord garrison I had to have a satellite campus on their capital as well. And I could probably clear up the Overlord garrison on the United Latrepian domains and still have a decent loyalty. But I think I'm going to keep these Overlord garrisons, at least one on the capital for now, so that I can get more from them and keep positive for ones like the United Latrepians. But it's going to take a lot of influence to do that. So I can resume conquering subjects. I just want to finish wiping out the Half-Lifer and Marauders first. And it's going to take at least a year for Strike Force Medusa to get over here. Strike Force Dragon should be heading on its way shortly.
Ships refitted.
Alright, it has completed its refit. I will have it follow. Yeah, 1 year and all of my fleet should be in place. Altogether, they are now over 100, about 125 fleet power. They're almost equivalent to their fleets, at least Gorgon and the Legionnaires are almost equivalent to their fleets already. And I can go ahead and have Strike Force Hippogriff since it's going to be a year. Let's go ahead and cloak. And get in position to ambush this fleet. Yeah, the Archivists have about a 500k fleet strength that I can see. Tenderzun has broken their non-aggression pact with us. Good. That is... I'm not the one who broke it, and that is less I am going to be spending. That also reminds me, I don't think I need... Yeah, I don't need to be improving relations with the Miravandians anymore. So let's look at our next target. Alright, you are a subject of the hierarchy of Mothoth. They have 5 vassals. That we would end up annoying if we took them on. And I'm already annoying these people. Let's see. Every member of their federation, with the exception of the hegemony of Ubaria and the Uthabulan clans, are their vassals. Yeah, I think we'll work on the Miravandian coalition next. That'll be more Miravandians for us. So let's move our one who is improving relations. Or actually, we've got a spy over in the Uthabulans. I think we will probably end up trying to finish these two off first. The Uthabulans will probably be the one we go after. Alright, the relative power to Overlord and the fact that they're in a federation is going to make it very hard for us to get secret fealty away from them. And they're probably going to end up being integrated because subject integration is an option there. What would it take to just conquer them? $200 influence to do that. Does anybody have claims? No, nobody has claims there. I think we do need to keep pushing and tearing up their subjects to the point where we can weaken them to where we can start, or get to them to where we can start tearing them up and turning parts of them into subjects. So yeah, I think we will move Danielle over there. and start setting up a spy network there so we can get a better look at the place. When we do get to the point where we can start doing more operations, we could start breaking up the Federation from within with spies. So I think I do eventually want to spy in every member of the Federation. Glossrahenian are in a migration with the Mandate of Massim. And our Pledge of Loyalty with the Latrepian domains is timed out. They're still gaining 7 points. I still do want to keep this going. So we will get the Pledge of Loyalty. And let's actually trade them some motes. We'll give them 125. So I don't want to start giving out too many favors. We have a new proposal. Repeal the Astral Studies Network. Galactic law currently places significant amounts of intellectual property. We've had this one pop up before. I'm opposed to it. This is the nation of Selnock Prime proposing it. And we are now up to the point where we could be a member of the Galactic Council. So Senate is going to be in session for 3.5 years, almost 4. And then 2 years out of session. So in about 6 years, I think we're about ready to form the Galactic Council. In 6 years, we will also be done with Subterfuge and get another Ascension perk. This will also boost our cloaking strength. Now, for additional Ascension perks, ones I have been looking at. Alright, I do know I want the politics as another branch, a tradition to seek, and I do know I want an Ascension path. So I've got one that I am undecided on right now. But as far as Ascension perks go, the next one I'm going to get is going to be Archeo Engineers. This will boost Archaeotech weapon damage by 33%. Right now the only Archaeotech weapon I have are the hangar bays with the driller drones. In addition, it unlocks additional effects for other components and buildings. Well, what that is going to do on the buildings that we do have, it will up the bonus of strategic resources from jobs from 25% to 40% on the ancient refinery. And for the facility of Archeo studies, it will improve it from having 3 Archeo engineer jobs to 5 Archeo engineer jobs. And I believe it also doubles the research bonus from 50% to 100%. I could be mistaken on that one though. But I do know it adds 2 more jobs. Since we have been delving into the First League and stuff, I think that is going to be the next Ascension perk we pick up. Other than that, I have 4 more Ascension perks I can grab. I do know I want Colossus, but it's going to take me a while to get it because I have to have Titans first. So if we look down at the Colossus project, it requires Titans, which I haven't gotten yet, so that's going to be one of the later ones we get. I also want the Arcology project. We can get that one now. That leaves 2 more. Engineered Evolution would be the one to unlock the genetics tradition tree, and that leaves 1 possible Ascension perk. Of these, the one I'm thinking of right now is Detox, because we do have 5 toxic terraforming candidates in our territory. So if we got that, I need Climate Restoration to pull that off, but if we got that, then that's 5 more colonies I can get in my territory. And there's no telling what those worlds will have resource-wise. Yeah, we are still listed as the Commonwealth of Man.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
We got our Pledge of Loyalty for 125 motes, and I should have extended that to 30 years. Long-range mineral scanners. Increased scanner range will allow us to more quickly identify mineral concentrations and focus our mining efforts there. Now first, let's look at our choices. Advanced mineral purification, an L-gate insight. I don't have an L-gate in my territory. I'm not that worried about them. Plasma thrusters would be out about the same time as the X-ray laser. Of course, we might also end up getting some debris with plasma thrusters over here. And I can't look at their ships to see if they actually have better than plasma thruster. I think plasma thruster is all they have. So maybe instead of plasma thruster, since we are going to get bonuses to it there, we could go for the advanced railgun. We'll also get a little bit of progress toward it, I think. But the movement, considering the size of our empire, although we are now getting the gates set up, the plasma thrusters would be nice for the movement bonuses. They had kinetic artillery, so if we get we get railguns knocked out, we'll actually get progress toward kinetic artillery instead. So yes, let's go for the advanced railguns and the X-ray lasers. And of course, whatever we get in the debris here, combined with anything else we pick up through stealing tech or anything later. Though I'm still waiting to renegotiate their deal. I need about 300 influence for that. And we've still got, it'll be next year before I have to worry about assigning these guys to do more building. Okay, that is my stealth fleet in the system with them. Great Khan Slurvis is dead. After her armada met with defeat a second time in the Nivan system, the Great Khan made no attempt to escape her flagship when it was destroyed in battle by the Star Realm of Shar. With their beloved leader gone, a vicious power struggle has erupted in the Obadin Horde. The Great Khan's warlords are now fighting each other for control over her empire. It remains to be seen who will emerge on top. The death of the Great Khan has thrown the Obadin Horde into disarray. No one is willing or able to receive your call. So the Star Realm of Shar is going to have a relic now. If I go to the situation log, the Saurian Combined Clans is actually above the Queptilium Archivist and the Forerunners now. They do have a relic. Star Realms of Shar have a relic. Oh, the Obadin Horde is actually showing up as an empire here. And that, speaking of relics, that is another reason I'm having difficulty getting the biological ascension path. The best way to get that is to have the Javorian Pox relic. It gives you a bonus to it, and also to be a xenophile. Xenophiles and having the Javorian Pox relic give you a bonus for that to show up, the genetic gene tailoring. So me not being a xenophile, being a xenophobe as a matter of fact, and not having had that as my precursor is going to make it a little bit more difficult for me to get it, especially in a slow research game. United Uthabul clans are in a migration treaty with the mandate of Mossum III. And Governor Viktor Volkov has become a substance abuser. So he's got about 12 more years left before he starts risking death. And again, now that I have feudal realms, I cannot dismiss leaders anymore. Feudal society. I now have a Mirovandia in my empire, and looking at their bonuses, they had agrarian bonuses, so they would be generating more food. I have changed them over to be chattel slaves, so they are going to be my farmers. Oh, the Wanderer is back finally. Let's move it to Shaula Station. Actually, let's move it to Larkin's Singularity Requires a scientist to assist cloaking detection. I do have a spare scientist, I believe. So we will move it down here to assist cloaking detection. It'll take 201 days to get there. About 7 months. And at which point we can engage its cloaking device. Autocracy of Rakaron is in a commercial pact with the Miravandian Coalition. It's kind of fitting that we made them farmers since we are suffering a deficit of food. We'll be able to start shifting them over to farming and moving out like oxen litters or other things that we've temporarily got farming. Still about 7 months before we're in position. Tendra Zun has made peace with the Democratic Glirin Union and lost a few more systems. Hegemony of Ubaria was just subjugated by the Democratic Glirin Union. So if we destroy them, it will get rid of their vassal, being a vassal. This federation is getting awfully big. Scientist Longwu died at the age of 92. He was aboard the Khonshu. I already have another scientist, but I do have to tell them to go back to assisting research. It's going to be a little bit of a research setback. Let's pop in here so that our sensors can see as far as we can into that territory. And then we will head this way. Through their space. Looks like a dead end, but it's still going to get me a visual over here. I do not think when I get the ability to make a Cumenopolis, I will be shifting Unity to 1, because it is the planet that has the most agricultural districts. And as you see, even now I'm struggling for food. This will probably be turned into a rural world or an agricultural world, or possibly a forge or factory world. And I will shift my capital someplace else that will be an Ecumenopolis. Because I don't really want to give up all of those agriculture districts. Usually it is best to choose a world, and I'll probably end up shifting mining over to agriculture here. Well, this would be pretty close. But it's usually the worlds that have poor resources that you want to convert into that. Like this one. Leffingwell would be pretty good as one, because I'm not losing a drastic amount. I have 6 in my highest one. That's not a whole lot to give up. And I could turn this into a full-on forge world. But ones that have 8 or more, I really like to keep the resource generation until I get sufficient habitats. I don't need resource generation on planets anymore. But, 9 districts, that's a lot. I mean, that would be 18 miner jobs right there and 2 extra with the upgraded thing. So you'd have 20 miners being boosted by this, by your purification bonuses and your world type. That's a lot to generate. So it is kind of bad sad in a way, giving up the mining districts and the generator districts available here on Procloss to turn it into an Ecumenopolis. But mining and generator districts can be grabbed by habitats. Agriculture, not so much. You can do a hydroponics station, but it doesn't really give the agricultural benefits that you can get off of a planet. You can't get quite as many miners. It just adds a handful, I think, to the housing districts. And then you'd have to fill out the rest with using the building slots for hydroponics bays. But until we actually get up to where we have habitats and possibly do throw out some agricultural ones, since we wouldn't need to spam quite as many strategic resources as I did with United Nations of Earth, I can get a lot of that off of my planets. Because we did get a good supply of things that had like this one, 2 mote harvesting, and I also now have the ancient refinery that adds refining jobs and gives huge bonuses to them. But yeah, this world wouldn't be bad as a Ecumenopolis. It would not be losing a lot of that. I could mainly pile up housing and industrial districts of a type. And I could also move up. I think they have leisure districts, so I could get rid of the holo theaters. That's an extra building slot. And I could turn this into a refinery and fill out the rest of the slots with refining stations. So I could do a lot of my habitats as the ones that can't be research or energy or mining. I could do hydroponics and start shifting off to eventually have all of my worlds, actual worlds, as Ecumenopoli. Glugbath embraces cybernetics. Word is leaking out of significant changes taking place within the borders of the Uthabulan allied clans. It would appear that they have fully embraced the technology of cybernetics. It is now mandatory for all of their citizens to have basic cybernetics and neural implants installed through surgery. This has resulted in sweeping changes to their society. Reports from Glugbath suggest that even simple acts like using an elevator or operating an air car require cybernetic implants now. In fact, the changes to their species have been so significant that they now call themselves the Uthabulan Claris now. So they have embraced cybernetics and are beginning that ascension path. Well, they're not long for this world, although I think I am still going to get the hegemony of Ubaria first. But it's going to be a little bit longer, probably another 5 to 10 years, because I want to finish off the Half-Lifer and Marauders. After I get this, I've got to pull back to refit and repair, and then by then I should have the power to handle this system. And we are still about 3 months away from being in position. So it'll be next episode before we wipe out Yaragana. We have a new proposal. Relocate the galactic market. Apparently it was canceled and then reproposed. Shopping Hegemony did it this time, which reminds me, Prosperous Unification. Yeah, because we finally got them up to 40, so I can now see their origin. Another proposal, Equal Standing Act. Each pre-FDL civilization has the potential. We've seen this one before. I'm opposed to it. Apparently whoever proposed it before has recalled or been removed. Interstellar Picarian Coalition proposed it this time. And now that we have a significant margin of diplomatic weight beyond the Soran, I am going to go ahead and pledge my support to form the Galactic Council. I've got 6 years to check it again to see if I want to change my mind. And in about 5 years, we should have the the final one under subterfuge. Rishethian State ended the rivalry with the Tendrazun. We go ahead and cloak and tell him to follow one of those fleets. Actually, better yet, I can tell him to go ahead and cloak and follow that fleet. And it has been another 5 years. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.